Hello, it's Laura Coleman here from Be Modern Meditation, and we are live. Oh, and I reckon Helen must be coming. Helen, she brings the wind. It's very windy tonight, and here I am in my yellow blanket. And who'd have thought yesterday was such a different day? Oh, hi, Vinny. Vinny's here. Hi, Yvonne. Good to see you. Yesterday I was literally here in like a little strappy little jumpsuit, feeling all summery, and today here I am wrapped in a blanket, and the joys of English weather. But I have to say, having lived in Melbourne for 10 years, it's just as bad over there, and I know there are some people who are watching this on replays over in Australia, so they'll vouch for the fact that the weather's very temperamental there as well. So I hope wherever you are, you're snuggled up somewhere. It looks beautiful outside, but it was a little bit too windy to go out in the main area. But I can still, I don't know if I can show you, I can still see a little glimpse of where we normally sit, so that's quite nice. And I just double check on our Facebook page just to check that we are all good and going live. Yes, thank goodness for that. So today I'm feeling really pleased with myself because I've spent the day getting all the dates organized for my Be More community that's going to be opening its doors at the beginning of May, and there's going to be a limited number of places, but it's going to be a chance to work more closely with me and with my Be More program, and I'm creating a digital version of that as well, so you'll be able to have that as a reference guide throughout that program. But I'm pleased because I managed to get all those dates, and I've been doing the finishing touches to the program. But one thing I've really noticed is how hard I'm finding it to concentrate, and I don't know if that's affecting you as well, whether you're finding that you get distracted more easily, that it's harder to focus, and there's a good reason for that to be the case. And one of the things I find really fascinating that I've learned with meditation and through studying psychology and neuroscience, and is just how fascinating the impact of stress on our system and what it's not just those things that we traditionally think of with stress, that we get that increase in things like adrenaline and cortisol that make us a bit hyper and pumped and hard to switch off. It also impacts our concentration, because when we're in that survival mode and our brain is in that kind of, it thinks that there's a tiger about to kill us, it has there's no way of it distinguishing between that kind of threat and the kind of threats that we're facing, which at the moment is this invisible threat that for most of us when we're in our homes is actually not real in this moment. But when we're in that stress response, our connection to this part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, gets cut off. It's like having a stairgate keeping us in our downstairs emotional part of our brain. So that brain CEO, that prefrontal cortex, which allows us to see the big picture, plan what we're going to do, respond accordingly, emotionally regulate, all of that, we've just got this restricted access. It's like we're just getting almost just a small percentage of that, because if I was fighting for my life against a tiger, my survival brain knows that I don't want to be thinking like that. I want to be instead reacting. I don't want to be thinking, should I go left? What's the pros and cons? I need to be in this moment, just reacting. So I know that's what's happening for me, that I can feel that happening in my life, that kind of short circuiting of, what did I come into this room for? And, what did I turn on this computer for? And just, I can't follow a thought through without being distracted. And that's my natural tendency anyway. So it's just being exacerbated. So that's a very long-winded way of saying that that's what we're going to be doing today, is really, as we're meditating, it's just thinking about and noticing the distraction, not trying to get rid of it, because as we've talked about in the past with meditation, if you've been in these sessions before, the more effort and trying we put in, the more likely it is that we're going to get stuck in overthinking and not being able to shift things for ourselves. So we just, in that same effortless way and just observing what's happening, I just invite you to notice the distraction today. Notice when your mind wanders off, as it will. And that's one of the caveats I always give, is that when you close your eyes, the chances are your mind will kick in with thinking. And so bear that in mind today, and just think and just notice. And you can even label it as distraction. So when you find that suddenly you're not with what I'm guiding you, your mind's gone off, maybe just label it distraction and come back and see if that helps you to just gently, like training a puppy to sit down on a mat. It's like this endless process of putting them back on the mat. And that's what we're doing in our mind tonight. It's just putting it back on the mat where we want it to be, and training that focused attention in this meditation practice, even though it will only be for a few minutes, will actually have an impact on your ability to do that when your eyes are open. And one of the things I always notice when I've meditated is just that there's a sense of my scattered thinking just settling, that like snow globe, the snow in the snow globe settling and feeling a little bit more centered and calm. So just be curious and see what you notice tonight. And in terms of our posture, the usual instructions that I give, we want to find that middle place between being super relaxed and almost falling asleep, and holding ourselves too tightly, too rigid, and putting too much effort and control. So we want that middle place where we're active but relaxed. So having your lower back supported, ideally not resting your head back on anything, because then you are more likely to fall asleep rather than be in a state of falling asleep. And that's as technical as we need to be. So just gently closing down the eyes and noticing if already, even in that brief moment since we've closed our eyes, if your mind is kicking in with thoughts. And we'll take our awareness to what we can hear in this moment. Perhaps there's sounds in the room that you're in, or sounds outside. Or maybe you can hear the wind where I am. Just seeing if you can open your awareness, allowing sounds to come to you. There's your awareness, and then there's the sounds coming into your awareness. And see if you can notice that things come into your awareness, and without any effort, they can pass through. And if the mind's wandered, just bringing that puppy back onto the mat. And we'll turn inwards now to the body, that place that we can always find this moment. Connecting to the body can only happen in this moment. So take your awareness and your attention and place it on the very tips of your fingers without moving the fingers. Just let your full focus rest there for a moment. If the mind's wandered again, you suddenly realize that you're not with the practice, just bring it back to the very tips of the fingers. And noticing after a moment that you might feel a gentle tingling or humming in the fingers, like a gentle vibration. That's your nervous system responding to your attention. Your fingers preparing for movement. And see if you can now add your toes. Just opening the awareness just that tiny bit further. Perhaps you're still aware of other things, the room, the thoughts, the sensations. That's okay as well. Just seeing if you can gradually bring your attention to that focus. And when it gets distracted, just coming back. No judgment or effort. And now your fingers and your toes are in your awareness. Perhaps you can feel that same subtle vibration in the toes. For many people, it's stronger sensation in the fingers. Or perhaps it's more one side than the other. Just be curious. How is it in this moment today? And if the mind wanders, just labeling it distraction and coming back. And then allowing that awareness to spill across the palms of the hands, soles of the feet. Just noticing that. And then allowing that awareness to spread up the ankles, the shins, up to the knees. From the knees all the way up the thighs, into the hips, perhaps noticing the sit bones, that bowl of the hips holding you up. Maybe there's a heaviness or a lightness to the legs, or maybe other sensations that you're aware of. And allow yourself now to spread that attention from the hands up the wrists and the forearms, into the crook of the arms. And from there, traveling up to the shoulders, across the chest, down into the belly. Your whole body in your awareness now. Just noticing what that feels like. Maybe there's a subtle opening, the shoulders falling down the spine, the chest opening, that heart space. When we find ourselves in that stressed state, often we can close that down, our whole body curling to protect that heart space. See if you can allow that gentle unfurling. Maybe even imagining a flower, just a bud opening, especially in the springtime. Imagining you unfurling, putting it down for now, all the cares and the worries and the distractions that take you away, just coming back. It's just the mind trying to scan the horizon. Just bring it back. Maybe even saying, I'm okay in this moment, gently in your mind when you get distracted. And just noticing what that does to that heart space when you say those words. I'm okay in this moment. Perhaps it makes it easier to open, to let go, for the distractions to die down. Beginning to feel the breath in the body. Noticing where you feel it today. Maybe it's that cool air entering the nostrils or the mouth. Or maybe today it's that rise and fall in the chest or the belly. It's wherever your attention lands on the breath. Just imagine that as your anchor point, taking you down into a deeper, calmer space. The body breathing for you. We'll have some silence with our breath. Whenever the mind wanders, just using whatever phrase feels right to bring the mind back, whether that's a simple noting of distraction and coming back, or if it's that heart opening, I'm okay in this moment. Just use whatever feels right for you. We'll have some time in this silence to allow a distraction to settle. And wherever your attention is right now, whether it's still with the breath or it's wandered, coming back to the breath and allowing it to deepen just on its own as you bring your awareness there. Becoming gradually more aware of the body, the room. And we'll take 3 bigger than usual breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Or just slowing down that exhale. Sending the message to your nervous system that all is well. Letting the breath find its natural rhythm now. And just gently return movement to the fingers and toes. Just noticing what that feels like before gently blinking open your eyes and noticing the space that you're in. Having a scan of your body from the head down to the toes. Feeling your feet on the floor. Just noticing if that distraction, that little nudging that you can feel, is just a little bit quieter. Wherever you are, have a wonderful evening, Easter Monday, and I will see you tomorrow at 5:15. Take care.